Scruffy Audio Network.
Calm down. Hey, welcome to Why Would You Go There, a podcast about travel.
Welcome.
And that was, again, you're going to say your name when I point
thought
to
you pointed to
I
me,
didn't
sorry.
point to you, and you didn't say your name, so you failed twice. I am Troy, one of the morons here, discussing travel with you, and you are...
Lee. I'm Lee. Yes.
Lee is discussing travel. So today we're going to do something a little different. Typically we talk about cities that we've gone to, or one time we've spoken about the whole country in general. But right now we're going to talk about the ultimate football road trip.
That we did.
Yeah. Something a little different. We did this a couple years ago. So there's about 6 or 7 guys that travel interchangeably. You know, you and I probably travel together the most, and then there's a couple more buddies of ours that travel with us, and the 4 of us kind of travel a little bit more, and then there's
the
3 or 4, exactly. There's 3 or 4 other guys that will sometimes travel with us. You might see, if you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you might...
follow me on Twitter.
Please. Yeah,
why would you go?
Yeah, it's Why Would You Go?
Why Would You Go? Twitter handle's not long enough to be able to put Why Would You Go there. So
that's what your mom said.
Why Would You Go? Okay, thanks. I was trying to give a shout out to our Twitter, but whatever.
And you can follow us on Instagram at the correct name, at Why Would You Go There, and then on Facebook, Why Would You Go There? So you'll see some pictures there of any. You'll see pictures of us, occasionally pictures of our wives, and any of these guys that we sometimes travel with. But this was
I have some pictures of your wife.
We need to move on. This is one time there were 4 of us that were traveling together on this ultimate football road trip, and we'll kind of go through a little bit about. Well, let's just talk about how we each day of the road trip, what we did, and it starts out with.
So this was all about fun, right? How can we have fun?
That's exactly right.
Good time, guys trip.
Yeah, exactly. So we live in East Tennessee, and we on a Thursday morning we drove down to Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta.
Yeah, we did. Hot Atlanta, because that night Georgia Tech had a football game.
They did.
Yeah, so we started
Georgia
out in
Tech
Atlanta.
and Virginia Tech.
Yeah. That was Frank Beamer's last game that he was coaching.
It was
last
his
season.
last year.
He
had a couple games after that, I
it was
think.
towards the end. Yeah.
But we did.
I think it was in
October
October that we did it. Yeah. That was.
It was in November, but way to care. Yeah.
And it was beautiful because I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't really care about Virginia Tech or Georgia Tech, but since I'm there, I'm kind of rooting for the home team.
So let me preface this: we had 2 other games in mind later on Saturday and Sunday that we were already planning on going to.
Right.
So we were looking forward to it. We just thought, okay, we're going to go down on Thursday, and if we can get tickets to this game, great. These other 2 games, we bought tickets way ahead of time.
Yep, exactly.
Because we thought they were going to be really, really difficult tickets to get because they were all really good teams when seasons started.
Yes.
But we got down to Atlanta, got to Georgia Tech that night, and decided, okay, we're going to try to go to this game. And I think we scalped tickets for...
You can't say scalped.
I think
we purchased tickets for more than face value.
We bartered tickets for yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't say the amount then, but it was cheap.
Yeah, we nobody can find us today. We purchased some tickets.
You said we were in East Tennessee, you idiot.
We purchased tickets from 4 tickets together for really,
well over face value.
Yeah, well over face value, but really, really cheap.
Yes,
and they were great tickets. They were in kind of in the bottom section.
Yeah,
and they were maybe on the goal line or 10-yard line.
Yeah,
like
I think it was about the 15-yard line,
yeah, okay.
Maybe like 15 rows up too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was they were really nice.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful night. It was just cool.
Oh yeah, great weather.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech is a great school to walk around.
Yes.
So we saw
right by the city.
We saw Bobby Ross,
Atlanta
who used
City.
to coach there.
Yeah, legend down at Georgia Tech.
That was kind of cool. We saw the Rambling Wreck.
What's the Rambling Wreck? Tell everybody.
It is a car. There you go.
Way to go. Good job. Thanks for the summary.
Kind of the Georgia Tech mascot
car. It's an old car.
Yeah.
We'll post a picture. You can look at it.
Yeah. But it was
Way to sell it.
it's a pretty campus. The varsity, that's one we're not going to really talk like we typically do on these podcasts about things that you have to do in cities. But if you're at Georgia Tech, the varsity is right there. It's a kind of a famous restaurant.
Yeah.
A bunch of college kids go there all the time, and you can go there and get a hamburger, hot dog,
French fries. Yeah.
It's kind of a neat place to go.
Yeah.
I've eaten there. You've eaten there,
atmosphere.
right?
I have.
Yeah, I have too. It's kind of a, In-N-Out burger type. Not.
It is not nearly as good as In-N-Out
I
burger.
don't want to say that on the air because people in Atlanta will be mad at us. But I would agree with that. But I do like it. It's worth going. It's different.
It's a good atmosphere. Yeah. It's a fun place to go. Just as a quick meal, and some people love it.
So, we've no need to really talk about the game. It was a great atmosphere. It was a great game. Georgia Tech led most of the game.
We will say this, Georgia Tech was leading most of the game, and then in the fourth quarter, Virginia Tech came back and won. So, not that most people care about that game, but it was a really fun atmosphere for us because we're just casually there, just kind of hanging out, and it was great to see a great game as well.
And to see Frank Beamer get carried off. That was really kind of cool in his last season. So, not his last game, last season. So then the next morning, that's that evening. The next morning we get up and just go and play golf at some skanky municipal golf course. We thought that it was going to be great, and even our buddy Troy who planned it, he was more upset than any of us.
Yeah, he was.
Like, oh, this is not what I'd hoped.
He thought he let us down. Little does he know that we're terrible at golf. Yeah, but we still had a great time.
He knows we're terrible at golf.
That is true.
I am the absolute worst at golf, and he knows that.
Well, that's you can say that about anything for you, but that's fine.
Anything sports related
or anything. Podcast related. Yeah, sure.
I'm absolutely terrible at it. But the course was like those water standing on the fairway half the time, and remember that it was all swampy and muddy and everything. It was
ducks
nasty.
running around everywhere, crapping on everything.
Oh man! But we had a pretty good time. It was just like you said earlier. It was just a guys' trip, just hanging out. We gambled a little bit on golf, and who was going to buy what later on, and all that kind of stuff. And it worked out well. And then that evening, we went to this restaurant in Atlanta that I think we should mention because our friend Troy was adamant about taking us to this restaurant, and it was well worth it.
Yeah. Go ahead. I was just going to say Houston's restaurant, and it was in the Lenox Mall area. So if you're familiar with Lenox Mall, it's a nice area for sure. So, but it was a great restaurant. So
you think it's a franchise?
Yes, it is. It is a franchise.
Yeah. So maybe people in some other cities will be able to find it, and it was not terribly expensive, but it wasn't cheap. No, it's a good meal at a decent price.
Except for me, it wasn't a good meal.
I remember you said something about the steak.
Yeah, so I got a steak there, and I got it. It was probably a little underdone for my liking, but I didn't want to be that guy and send it back. So I talked about maybe sending it back, and I can't remember. Did I send it back or no?
I think you did.
I think I did too, and then it came back, and it was still
too
undercooked.
Rare because you were just so finicky.
Yeah, and it's still undercooked, and I was like, "Gosh, I should really send this back again." But I never sent it back.
It had nothing to do with the next day.
It had everything to do with the next day.
You're going to kill all of the bacteria or whatever if you just cook like an eighth of an inch. Get it done. So if it's rare in the middle, it doesn't matter. But you swear that that's what made you sick because the next day we went to Auburn, and you swear that was the reason that you were sick half the day.
So we stayed at a nice hotel in Atlanta, and I woke up in the morning, and it was just not a good start for me that day.
Which made the road trip great for the rest of us because true friends that we are, we were laughing at you the entire time.
Yeah. I couldn't make it down the elevator. I went about a floor, and I was like, oh, crap, I have to get off of this elevator. So I got off the elevator and immediately,
got sick.
Did some damage into a trash can that was luckily there.
Come on, people want to listen to this.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So you were sick most of the day. That day, we were driving to Auburn. And I can't remember who Auburn was playing. Who were they playing?
Georgia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That was supposed to be a huge game to start the year.
At the beginning of the season, it was supposed to be a huge game, and they were both kind of
mediocre.
Yeah. And wait till we talk about the Sunday game, where it was supposed to be a huge game, and the disappointment that was there.
Yeah.
But so we drive to Auburn the next day, and
one of our buddies is a huge Auburn fan. By the way.
Well, that's kind of why we planned that.
Yes.
Man, great town as far as it's a great little area. The college campus is beautiful, and I kind of like tradition and everything. So we went to the game, and you were kind of on the way to the game. You were really in bad shape,
not doing well at all.
Yeah, should I post some of those pictures of you with random articles of clothing all over? Like you were
freezing.
Cold,
it was like I had
look
the
over
flu.
there at one point. We're in the back seat. And I look over, and you've got jeans on your arms.
Yeah,
you're just
the only
shaking.
thing I could find. I was freezing.
Yeah.
It's like I had the flu.
You did have something wrong with you because you were shaking and sweating at the same time, and you were just sweating and just jeans. You were trying to wear your jeans as a jacket, which was great. And I took a couple pictures of you.
Yes, thank you for that. What a great friend. Thank you so much.
And,
Wouldn't expect anything
we had
less.
to park a long ways away, and you were just having a hard time making it up there. And
like 100 yards,
we go
and I was
into
like,
this
I gotta
little
take a
shop
break.
in the South, in South Georgia and South Alabama. They love boiled peanuts, and I love boiled peanuts. So we just go into this
boiled what?
Boiled peanuts.
Okay.
We just go into this shop to Walden and I to get some boiled peanuts, and as I'm standing there paying for them,
which I can't even go in anywhere that had any sort of smell. By the way,
so sick at this point. Yeah. The attendant says, the guy taking the payment says, "Man, I don't know about that guy. He looks like he's had a rough night. Was he out there counting cracks and
in the
concrete?
Pavement,
yeah." And I look out there and I just say, "Oh, he's with us." You were doubled over, just staring at the concrete out in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite memories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we go and watch the game, and
first let me preface this. We walk around the campus.
You keep prefacing things. Just jump in. Don't preface it.
Okay. Well, let me jump in with this.
Oh, please.
So we kind of walk around the campus a little bit, and I'm just not doing well at all.
Yeah,
so I was like, I'm gonna. Here's a bench right here. I'm going to just lay down on this bench. You guys just come get me whenever you're ready to go in the stadium, because you guys wanted to walk around, kind of see a little bit more of the campus. Beautiful campus, by the way.
Things that we all like to do, and were you not deathly ill, would have loved to do that too. That's
doing that.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite things.
And so I'm laying there, in a jacket. It's really not even that cold, but I'm freezing. But I'm laying there in a jacket on this bench, and not feeling good. So I'm kind of spitting a little bit. Not.
Where are we going with this?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get to the story because it's actually kind of funny. So I'm spitting onto the ground. But there's these older ladies that are like, "Oh, look at that poor kid over there. Look at that. He's just drooling and falling asleep. He's just passed out. He's had a horrible night." I remember those days. I was in college once, and I couldn't even look up to be like, "I'm okay. I'm not passed out.
I'm not drunk.
Okay. I'm not okay. I'm not drunk."
That's what they thought.
I'm literally sick as a dog. Yeah. But yeah, it was hilarious.
And then
this older, literally like 70 years old.
Yeah. They remember those days. They remember those days of being passed out drunk at college games.
So it was so great. Yeah. And they were like, "Look at him. Look at him." Yeah. So
Poor guy.
That was nice.
And then we came back and got you and drug you in. And while we watched the game, you laid on the bleachers.
I really did. Yeah. I tried to occasionally get up and watch a few plays every now and then.
And if you get a chance to go, first of all, Auburn it's a great stadium. I mean, it's Georgia Tech is too, but Auburn's a beautiful stadium. They have a jumbotron that is the size of Rhode Island at one end of the stadium. I mean, it is giant. You are not going to miss anything. So go watch a game there. We had a great time. Our Auburn buddy tried to explain to us. He's done this multiple times, tried to explain to us the whole lion and or tiger and eagle thing, and it's a teagle. No, it's Stonewall Jackson with the eagle swirling around and everything. I'm sure that there's a legitimate story there. He just doesn't know what it is.
We don't know it either,
and we
based
don't
off
know
what
it.
he's told us.
Exactly. But see the eagle fly around at the beginning of the game. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
You didn't see that.
I actually did see that.
Okay.
opened my eyes for just a few minutes because I always thought that was the coolest thing to kind of watch the eagle flying through.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then I basically laid there for about 3.5 quarters, and then like the fourth quarter, I'm like, I'm going to try to go and watch a little bit of this, and so yeah, it was great.
And then when we left there, because I like all that kind of tradition stuff.
Auburn lost, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
Our poor buddy.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable for him. But hey, it was great to see the game.
For some of us, yes.
Yeah. But at the end of that, we went to that place called Toomer's Corner.
Yeah.
Which is where, first of all, there used to be a bunch of trees there before a bunch of Alabama fan hicks burned those trees down. But the whole intersection is kind of neat. And we stood in this long line for this kind of legendary lemonade. And was that place Toomer's Drugstore? Or is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
if not, we'll just act like it.
Yeah, well, we should.
It's on the
should
corner.
Have said
You'll
it
find
with
it
with authority. Yeah, everybody there is going to know what Toomer's Corner is, and it was kind of neat to just go through.
Not a tumor.
Just go through and get the lemonade and the whole tradition. We walked around campus. You were feeling a little bit better by then. So you were okay to walk around. Hey, are you doing a texting cast or a podcast? What are you doing over here?
Mind your business. Down. You just keep talking. I'll cut in whenever I need to.
Anyway, so that evening after. Anyway,
hold on, I'm not done yet. I want to talk about Alabama.
Well,
still.
You could have been talking about it instead of just texting.
I was looking it up. It's Toomer's Drugs, by the way.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
So that's pretty. It was pretty cool. Apparently, that's the thing to do there. But we went to the basketball museum as well. Basketball Hall of Fame. We got to see like Charles Barkley and some of these guys.
Barkley.
Yeah, and outside of the Auburn Stadium, I was not passed out. Start that again. Okay, so yeah, it was Toomer's Drugstore. So go there, get some lemonade. Before that, we went to Auburn's like basketball arena. And we got to see their Hall of Fame.
So they had that whole thing open.
Yeah, so you could walk through.
Cool.
We got to see some Charles Barkley stuff, which who doesn't love some Charles Barkley? And outside of the football stadium, Bo Jackson had a statue of Bo Jackson. Yeah. So those were fun to see.
And again, we all kind of like walking around the campus, and we kind of enjoyed that. That evening, we just drove back to Atlanta because the next morning for this ultimate football trip, we had to get up early in the morning and fly to Tampa, and this is the part where people are going to laugh because I'm a Bucs fan, and our buddy Troy, there's two Troys, is a Cowboys fan. And at the beginning of the season, we thought these tickets were going to be hard to get because we thought Dallas was going to be great. We thought the Bucs had a shot.
Well, I think one of us thought the
Bucs had a shot. We thought Dallas was going to be great, and Dallas wasn't great. I think we were going to see Tony Romo, and that was the year Tony Romo got hurt and was out all year. Yep. And then we flew to Tampa from Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of a big deal for us, and it was the
cool.
Two Troys, two favorite teams, kind of battling, and we did kind of the same thing. Walked around Tampa a little bit. We didn't have nearly as much time in Tampa, although you were feeling a lot better. But we had to fly in
so much better.
And if you fly into Tampa, the airport is right by the stadium.
Oh, tell us about the Cuban sandwich, by the way.
Oh yeah, well I'm Tampa native, so you have to eat a Cuban sandwich. So we got a Cuban sandwich at the Columbia Restaurant, which is one of the best restaurants in Tampa. This happened to be the airport version, which is never as good as the original in Ybor City. But a Cuban sandwich is still. That's one of the things that I think you have to get if you go to Tampa. The Cubans in Miami think that they have some kind of take on the Cuban sandwich. They don't. The Cuban sandwich was invented in Tampa by Ybor City Cubans, and they know how to make it in Tampa. So it's basically it's just Cuban bread, which cannot anywhere in the world cannot be duplicated. You can only get it in Tampa, Miami, and Cuba. Anywhere else, forget about it. You're not going to get Cuban bread.
You clean that drool off your face right now.
Oh,
Good
man,
grief. You are getting passionate
when
about
I go
this
home,
Cuban sandwich.
that is the first thing that I do when I go home is get a Cuban sandwich. I mean, I took my wife there for the first time to Tampa to meet family, and before we met family, we went to get a Cuban sandwich. It's that important to me. So we did get a Cuban sandwich. So you guys got to taste that. Well, tell me what you thought about it.
It was a good sandwich. It was.
Was it a good sandwich or was it a great sandwich?
I would say you're probably right. It was probably the airport version, but you can tell that there is a different type of bread for it. I would definitely go back. I'd love to try it. Not in the airport. Not that the airport was bad,
right.
But it definitely was a good sandwich for sure.
Okay, good.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, you've passed. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the best sandwich you've ever eaten. There's no substitute for it. But anyway, so we got the Cuban sandwich, and then we rush over to the stadium and watch this great game between Tampa and Dallas. It was
when you say great.
It was well into the fourth quarter, and there were a total of 4 field goals.
So much offense in this game.
It was I think it was 6-3 at halftime, and then it was 9-3, and Dallas was ahead, and it did end well because the Bucs scored a last minute touchdown in the final seconds to end the game 10-9 and win. But it was not. It was great for me because they won. Not great for the other Troy.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Which is one we care more about.
Terrible for Walden because his team lost.
Yeah. Terrible for me because I was deathly ill.
And then
for an entire day.
And
then Troy was not happy.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
His team didn't win, and he had to listen to your mouth.
Oh, I tried. I tried not to go, which he said makes it even worse.
Yeah,
when you try not to say anything, he'd rather us just gloat about the win.
Yeah,
which I'm kind of.
You can't really gloat about that one.
Yeah, but then we had something interesting happen on the way back.
Yeah.
To the airport.
So there's a huge taxi line, by the way. When you leave the airport, they kind of direct you to a place where you can get a taxi. So of course
it was Uber.
Okay,
it was Uber.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
Because you got the Uber receipt on your phone.
Yeah. So it's a pretty long line. It kind of backs up a little bit, I guess, for the taxis. But yeah, we got an Uber. So we took the Uber to the airport. We go through security. Don't have any bags, which is great. But
we didn't have anything with us. So we were like ballers. We were just we're just getting on a plane and all of our stuff is there. And it was on the way down, the way back. We just felt like, this is how we're supposed to live.
Yeah, so we get through security and everything, and we're kind of cutting it somewhat close because the game, was so great. It took so long.
It was hard to get out of the stadium. It was the stadium traffic that was the issue. But we were cutting close.
And then all of a sudden, Troy said, "Hey, do you have that Uber guy's phone number?" And he said, "I think I left the keys in there." And I kind of thought it was a joke at first. And then I looked at his face, and it was not a joke at all. I was like, "Oh, crap.
Yeah.
How are we going to get to the car?"
Which was great. So luckily you had the Uber receipt.
I did. I had the Uber receipt, so I called the guy. And he could tell he's kind of hesitant. I was like, we'll give you $20 if you come back right now and just bring us the keys. And so sure enough, he came back, and I got TSA pre-check, which kind of helps you get through the security line a little bit quicker.
Yeah, that's why you were the one that went. Yeah. All the rest of us stayed in there, and you went out because you have that. Yeah.
I was the GOAT.
Yeah, you were. Not greatest of all time, just plain
well,
GOAT.
I was that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kind of snuck it back in with a little bit of time to spare, but that could have turned that day, which was already bad for Troy, even worse. Yeah. Which would have been worse for everybody.
So we got through that, flew back to Atlanta, and we're almost done with this ultimate football road trip. But we want to tell you about the place that we ate that night in Atlanta, which is one of our favorite spots. Yes. It's a chain, so people all around the country can find it. Tell them about it.
Papa Do's.
Papa Do's. Yeah. Oh, man. That place has the best, I would say, fried seafood. They got some other great seafood, but mostly what you're going to eat there's kind of southern fried seafood.
Yeah,
right?
It's like Cajun seafood. Yeah. So there's most of these are in Texas, but there's 3 in the Atlanta area. There's one
in Colorado.
Yeah, one in Cincinnati, one in Colorado. So there's a few around the country, but Love it. And I love the fried food. Any kind of fish that you get there is going to be great.
Shrimp bruschetta.
Oh yes,
is my favorite thing there. It's a shrimp that is stuffed with a pepper and cheese and wrapped in bacon.
Oh yes,
and then grilled. Yeah, it's pretty delicious. And I like the fact that they serve beer to you. Again, you don't drink beer, but I do, and they'll serve it to you in a big giant goblet.
You do
just
look
feel
forward to getting
like a king.
Yeah.
I'm like, bring me a beer in a goblet.
Yeah. You just need your tiara and you'd be in good shape. But it's so good. I like it because I love some ranch dressing, and they bring you your ranch in a goblet. So I feel like a king.
That's what
it's
it's
so
all
great.
about. You don't even dip anything in it. You just drink that goblet of
turn
ranch.
It up. Another round of ranch, please.
Another round for the table. Oh God, man, you're an idiot.
Yeah, but it's probably my favorite restaurant, at least as chain restaurants go. So
sure. I can't think of one that I like better. So yeah, probably.
Okay.
So that's kind of it.
Way better than that crappy Cuban sandwich.
Oh, now we're fighting. Talk about a Cuban sandwich. That's kind of it. This is a little bit different style.
Yeah.
We kind of went through this road trip that we did. I would urge you to plan a road trip, even if you don't like sports, and you love sports, so it doesn't matter what we're going to do. You're down for that. I love football. I don't love all sports necessarily, but I love football. So 3 great football games. Well, a couple of good football games and one great football game.
I'm not sure any of them were great or good.
Okay,
for that matter.
3
but they were
football games. It's better to be. It's better to be watching football than to be doing and just working or doing something else. So we enjoyed that. So I think that what are your final thoughts on road trip? I know this is a little different format. Is there a way to do final thoughts on this?
Well, I've always got room for an end summary.
And people always want that.
Yeah, I love road trips. So I've seen all kinds of different sporting venues across the U.S. And I've probably been to 27, 28 different NFL football stadiums, just to give you an idea. But it's not just about football. It's just about traveling. Travel. Go do what you love to do and get out. Not just to see sports or football. You can do what you want. Go for shopping or shows or concerts, whatever. But get out there.
I agree with that. And just do something.
Yeah.
Just don't sit around. You can just sit around and watch TV or something. No, get out and go do something. Even if it's someplace you hate, you should always go there. It's better to go someplace you hate than to sit at home and do nothing.
There it is. Been waiting for it.
That was it. Hey, listen, follow us on Instagram at Why Would You Go There? Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook at Why Would You Go There? And then, of course, Twitter. At Why Would You Go?
Yeah.
At Why Would You Go? Yeah. So, all right. I think we're about wrapped up.
We are.
And we are getting out of here.
We are.
Okay. What do you think about that?
It was good. It was good. Different format, but I think it went pretty well.
Except for the texting, thanks.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome for that.
Good job. What a jerk. You're so disrespectful.
To who?
You do that? To me and to our listeners.
No, I was paying attention to the listeners. I care about them.
Yeah, of course you do. All right.
Yeah.
We're done.